Good evening and welcome to the Heritage TV News produced by Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu. I am Veronica Olabisi Obadara. First, the highlights. Police restrict movements on elections. The Code of Conduct Tribunal granted Onoge bail on self-recognition. The Nigerian Immigration Service warned foreigners to keep off polling stations. INEC has distributed 98% election materials in Borno State. INEC begins distribution of sensitive materials in Imo State, and 160 Nigerians deported from Libya. And now the news in full. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Adamu Muhammad, has ordered the restriction of vehicular movement from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, 16 February 2019. The IGP notes that the restriction will assist security agencies in effectively policing the electoral process, thereby preventing hoodlums and criminally minded elements from hijacking and disrupting the electoral process. He stated that the police would punish anyone who flouts the order. Furthermore, the Acting Inspector General of Police urged Nigerians to come out en masse to vote while advising them to shun electoral violence. He therefore enjoins the citizens to stay clear of vote buying, vote selling, hate speeches, circulating fake news, snatching of ballot boxes, and other acts capable of truncating the people's will. The suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, has been granted bail by the Code of Conduct Tribunal on self-recognition. The CCC chairman, Danladi Umar, in a ruling, also discharged the bench warrant issued against Onogen. Umar said since Onogen voluntarily submitted himself, the bench warrant was no longer necessary. Onogen, who stood in the dock all through the 1-hour-long proceedings, pleaded not guilty to the 6-count charges on which he was arraigned. The Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, has reiterated its warning to foreign nationals to keep off voting areas during this Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections in Nigeria, or they will face prosecution and deportation. King Ekpedeme, the head of the service, said that the Nigerian Immigration Service had in the past 5 months engaged leaders of foreign nationals, especially those from the Economic Community of West Africa and Central African states, ECOWAS and ECAS, to speak to their people on the need to stay out of Nigeria's elections. Ekpedeme also said the service had retrieved several permanent voters' cards, PVC, from non-Nigerians, adding that it has emplaced mechanisms to forestall foreigners from taking part in the exercise. He said Lagosians should not be worried about the possibility of foreign nationals voting in this election. And still on INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission announced that it has achieved about 98% delivery of non-sensitive election materials to polling units in Borno State, Nigeria, ahead of tomorrow's presidential and National Assembly elections. The Commission also said it had begun the distribution of sensitive materials to all the 27 local government areas of the state, adding that it was expecting to complete the exercise today. And the Borno State's resident electoral commissioner, Alhaji Mohammed Ibrahim, disclosed this to the newsmen at a news conference today in Maiduguri. Ibrahim explained that non-sensitive materials such as voters' registers, voting cubicles, smart card reader, power generators, and others were currently being distributed to polling centers. He also said about 11,000 security personnel were deployed for the elections to secure about 3,933 polling units, electoral officers, election materials, as well as buildings and premises. The REC said the commission had registered 409,000 internally displaced persons, IDPs, from 8 local government areas who would also vote in designated camps. The commissioner listed affected councils to include Abadama, Guzamala, Marte, Dikwa, Ngala, Kukawa, Moba, and Kalabaje. Still on INEC, he said the distribution of sensitive materials for the presidential and National Assembly elections started in Imo State at about 1:30 p.m. earlier today. And stakeholders are very worried that the delay in the commencement of the distribution of the materials may affect the conduct of tomorrow's elections. The Resident Electoral Commission, Professor Francis Ezeonu, assured that voting will commence at scheduled time on the day of election, which is tomorrow. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has received another batch of 160 stranded Nigerians from Libya. The returnees were received by the coordinator, Lagos Territorial Office of NEMA, Alhaji Idris Muhammad, at the cargo wing of MMIA Ikeja, Lagos. They were brought back by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, with EU's Special Intervention on Assisted Voluntary Returnees, AVR program, and arrived Nigeria at about 7:50 p.m. on Thursday evening. The returnees were made up of 68 female adults, 1 female child, and 5 female infants. Also, there were 79 male adults, 2 male children, and 5 male infants, making up 74 females and 86 males, including a psychologically traumatized adult male. The coordinator, while receiving them, implored other Nigerians still aspiring to travel out of the country to desist from irregular migration, which removes the fundamental human rights that such migrants could have enjoyed, and by this expose them to avoidable risks. And finally, the family of IAS bride, Shamima Begum, say they are shocked by her comments to a newspaper and they want the United Kingdom government to help bring her home, according to Sky News. Pregnant Shamima Begum was a 15-year-old schoolgirl when she fled Britain and joined Islamic State in Syria. Now aged 19, she has told British media she does not regret leaving the United Kingdom. As Nigeria is preparing for the elections tomorrow, we just want to enjoy everybody to use your vote well and use your PVC card right. That is your vote and that is your power. Just before we go, another look at the highlights. Police restrict movements on election. The Code of Conduct Tribunal granted Onogen bail. The Nigerian Immigration Service wants foreigners to stay away from elections. INEC has distributed 98% election materials in Maiduguri. INEC begins distribution of sensitive materials in Imo State, and 160 Nigerians deported from Libya. That has been the Heritage TV News, as produced by Oladeji Ibrahim Dawodu. I am Veronica Olabisi Obadara. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.